There is something buried beneath every closed door you have ever stood in front of. Not a lesson, not a consolation prize, not the universe's polite way of redirecting you towards something better. Something more precise than that. Something that most people never find because they stop at the surface of the experience. They feel the door close, they register the pain, they form a story about what it means, and they carry that story forward as though it is the whole truth. But it is not the whole truth. It is the thinnest possible layer of what actually happened to you. And beneath that layer, beneath the story you built around every setback, every rejection, every season where nothing seemed to move, no matter how hard you pushed, beneath all of that, there is something that changes the entire meaning of what you lived through. Something that was operating the whole time you thought you were failing. Something that was building the whole time you thought you were falling behind. Today, we go beneath the surface of setback. We go beneath the story of failure. We go beneath the motivational interpretation, beneath the spiritual reframe, beneath even the psychological explanation, and we find what is actually there, what has always been there, what quantum mechanics accidentally confirmed, and what ancient wisdom traditions mapped thousands of years before any of us had language for it. This is not a video about positive thinking. This is not a video about resilience or bouncing back or finding the silver lining. Those are surface-level interpretations of something that runs far deeper than comfort or encouragement can reach. This is a transmission about what is actually happening beneath the surface of every experience you have labeled as failure. And once you see it, once this layer lifts, you will not be able to look at a single closed door the same way again. Let us begin at the surface, because that is where you are right now, and that is where the excavation always starts. You have a story about your setbacks. Everyone does. The story might be that you were not ready, that you were not lucky enough, connected enough, talented enough, that the timing was wrong, that other people had advantages you did not have, that you made mistakes you should not have made, that the world is unfair in ways that specifically targeted you. Or perhaps your story is the more optimistic version, that everything happens for a reason, that the universe was protecting you, that something better was waiting around the corner. Both versions of the story share something in common. They both keep you at the surface. The pessimistic story keeps you at the surface of victimhood. The optimistic story keeps you at the surface of spiritual consolation. And while the optimistic story is certainly more pleasant to carry, neither one of them shows you what is actually beneath the experience. Neither one of them shows you the mechanism. The actual operating quantum-level mechanism that was running beneath every moment you experienced as setback, as delay, as failure, as loss. There is a layer beneath both of those stories, and that layer is where the real information lives. Most people never reach it, not because it is hidden from them in any conspiratorial sense, not because someone buried it deliberately to keep them disempowered, but because the surface story is so emotionally compelling, so immediately satisfying in its explanation, that the mind accepts it and stops digging. The mind finds a story that fits the pain, and calls it understanding. But understanding is not the same as seeing beneath. And today, we are going to see beneath. Let me show you what the surface looks like first, so you know exactly what we are peeling back. When a door closes on you, when the job falls through, when the relationship ends, when the investment fails, when the opportunity passes, when the dream you built collapses, there is an immediate experience that happens in your body and your mind simultaneously. The mind begins cataloging evidence. It reaches into memory and pulls out every similar experience of failure or rejection and lines them up like a case file. It builds an argument. It constructs a narrative that explains what just happened in terms of what has always happened. And the body responds to that narrative as though it is physically real. The chest tightens, the energy drops, the nervous system shifts into a contracted state that feels, from the inside, like proof that the story is true. This is the surface. This is the thinnest layer of what is actually happening. And here is what is buried just beneath it. That contraction, that tightening, that drop in energy, that sense of collapse, is not your system registering failure. It is your system registering a frequency mismatch. And that is a completely different thing. A frequency mismatch is not a verdict. It is information. It is your system detecting that where you were attempting to go was not yet aligned with what you are currently broadcasting. Not because you are insufficient, not because the world is against you, but because something in the signal was not yet coherent enough to break through. Now, I know that might sound like spiritual language dressed in scientific clothing, so let us go deeper. Let us go beneath the metaphor and find the actual mechanism. Because this is where the veil truly lifts, not in the poetic description of frequency, but in what physics actually found beneath the surface of matter itself. Here is what quantum mechanics discovered. And this is not interpretation. This is not metaphor. This is what the instruments found when physicists stopped looking at the surface of things and started measuring what was underneath. Beneath every solid object, beneath every particle that appears fixed and definite and located in a specific place, there is not more solid stuff. There is a field of probability, a superposition of potential states, all existing simultaneously. None of them collapsed into a definite reality until the moment of observation, until the moment of interaction with a measuring system. Before that moment of interaction, the particle does not exist in one place. It exists as a wave of possibility spread across multiple locations simultaneously. It is, in the most literal physical sense, in all of its possible states at once. This is not philosophy. This is quantum mechanics. This is what the double-slit experiment demonstrated. This is what the mathematics of wave function collapse describes. This is what Niels Bohr and Werner Heisenberg and Erwin Schrödinger spent decades mapping beneath the surface of physical reality. And here is what nobody told you about what this means for your life. The moment before the door closed on you, the moment before the rejection arrived, before the opportunity collapsed, before the relationship ended, that experience existed in superposition. It existed as a wave of possibility. Multiple outcomes were real simultaneously. Multiple futures were available simultaneously, and the one that collapsed into your experience, the one that became the definite, solid, apparently fixed reality of what happened, was the one that matched the frequency of the observing system, which means you. Not your intentions, not your hopes, not the story you were consciously telling yourself about what you wanted. The frequency you were actually broadcasting at the level beneath your conscious narrative. The coherence of your signal at the quantum level of your being. This is the layer beneath the surface of every setback you have ever experienced. And it changes everything about what those setbacks actually were. They were not failures. They were frequency readings. They were the universe, and I am using that word in its most precise, non-mystical sense, meaning the field of quantum probability that underlies all physical experience. They were that field showing you the current state of your signal, showing you not who you are, not what you deserve, not what your potential ceiling is, but what frequency you were broadcasting at that specific moment in your development. And here is the part that most people never reach, because they stop at the surface of even this explanation. A frequency reading is not a sentence, it is a calibration point. Every setback you have ever experienced was a calibration point, a precise measurement of where your signal was at that moment. And the fact that you are here, that you are still moving, that you are still seeking, that something in you is still restless and reaching, that is not evidence that the calibration failed. That is evidence that the calibration is still running, that the signal is still being tuned, that the frequency is still being refined toward coherence. If this transmission is reaching a layer in you that you have been looking for, like this video and subscribe so we can keep going deeper together. But there is a layer beneath even that. Let us go deeper. The ancient wisdom traditions, and I am speaking specifically of the Vedic tradition of India, the Hermetic tradition of ancient Egypt, the Taoist tradition of China, the mystical core of the Kabbalistic tradition, all of them, independently, across thousands of years and thousands of miles of separation, mapped something beneath the surface of human experience that they did not have quantum mechanical language to describe, but that they described with extraordinary precision using the language they had. The Vedic tradition called it karma and dharma, not in the simplified popular sense of cosmic reward and punishment, but in the precise original sense. Karma as the accumulated pattern of action and reaction that shapes the field of possibility available to you, and dharma as the specific frequency signature of your soul's purpose moving through that field. The setbacks in Vedic understanding were not punishments. They were the field reflecting back the current state of the karma-dharma alignment. They were the universe showing you where the signal needed refinement before the next level of manifestation could occur. The Hermetic tradition described it as the principle of vibration, one of the 7 Hermetic principles recorded in the Kybalion, which itself was a distillation of teachings attributed to Hermes Trismegistus, the mythological figure who embodied the synthesis of Egyptian and Greek wisdom. The principle of vibration states, in its most essential form, that nothing rests, everything moves, everything vibrates, and the differences between different manifestations of matter and energy and mind are ultimately differences of vibration. What we call failure in the Hermetic framework is simply a vibrational mismatch between the current state of the seeker and the vibrational level of the outcome they are reaching for. The solution is not to try harder at the surface level. The solution is to shift the vibration at the deeper level. The Taoist tradition described it as the principle of Wu Wei, effortless action aligned with the natural flow of the Tao. And the Tao, in its deepest understanding, is not a river you can see. It is the current beneath every river. It is the organizing principle beneath all apparent chaos. The setbacks in Taoist understanding were moments where the individual force of will was moving against the deeper current, not because the current was hostile, but because the alignment had not yet been achieved. The Tao does not punish misalignment, it simply does not yield to it. The Kabbalistic tradition described it through the structure of the tree of life, specifically through the concept of the klipot, the shells or husks that surround the divine light and prevent it from being received before the vessel is prepared to hold it. The setbacks in Kabbalistic understanding were not the absence of divine light. They were the shells, the necessary structures of resistance that existed precisely because the vessel was not yet prepared. And the preparation of the vessel was the entire work of the spiritual life. Different traditions, different languages, different cosmologies, the same map. And quantum mechanics, 3,000 years later, built instruments sensitive enough to measure what those traditions were pointing at, and found, beneath the surface of matter itself, exactly what the ancient maps described: a field of pure potential, a wave of possibility that collapses into definite experience only when the observing system is coherent enough to interact with it in a specific way. The setbacks were not failures. They were the field waiting for your signal to become coherent enough to collapse possibility into the specific outcome you were reaching for. This is where the veil lifts. Now let us go even deeper, because there is a layer beneath the quantum mechanics and the ancient wisdom that most people never reach. A layer that is not abstract or theoretical or historical. A layer that is happening in your body right now as you receive this transmission. There is a concept in developmental neuroscience called post-traumatic growth. It is distinct from resilience, which is the ability to return to baseline after adversity. Post-traumatic growth is something more radical. It is the documented phenomenon of individuals who, following significant adversity, do not merely return to their previous level of functioning, but actually develop capacities, perspectives, and ways of engaging with reality that were not available to them before the adversity occurred. The research on post-traumatic growth, pioneered by psychologists Richard Tedeschi and Lawrence Calhoun in the 1990s, and expanded significantly since then, found something beneath the surface of the adversity experience that changed the entire understanding of what setbacks are doing to the human system. They are not just painful experiences to be survived. They are restructuring events. When a significant setback occurs, when something you were building collapses, when a path you were on closes, when a version of your future that you had constructed becomes unavailable, the psychological structures that were supporting that version of reality are forced to disassemble. The assumptions you were operating from, the models of how the world works that you had built up, the identity structures that were tied to the outcome you were pursuing, all of them enter a state of temporary dissolution. And this is the part that is hidden in plain sight. Dissolution is not destruction. Dissolution is the necessary precondition for restructuring at a higher level of complexity. The caterpillar does not simply grow wings. The caterpillar dissolves. Inside the chrysalis, the caterpillar's body literally breaks down into an undifferentiated biological soup, a collection of cells that have released their previous organization. And from that dissolution, from that state of formlessness, the butterfly reorganizes, not by adding wings to a caterpillar, by becoming something that could not have existed without first becoming nothing. Every significant setback you have experienced was a chrysalis moment, not metaphorically, neurologically. The dissolution of the psychological structures that were holding your previous level of reality in place was the necessary precondition for the reorganization that was coming, the reorganization that could not happen while those structures remained intact. But here is what they never told you. Here is the layer that was buried beneath the surface of even this understanding. The dissolution is not random. The dissolution is intelligent. Not intelligent in the way a person is intelligent, not deliberate, not planned, not conscious in the way your mind is conscious, but intelligent in the way a river finds the sea, intelligent in the way a seed knows to grow toward light, intelligent in the way quantum probability collapses toward the state that is most coherent with the observing system. The things that dissolved in your setbacks, the structures that fell away, the assumptions that were dismantled, the identities that were forced to release, they were not random casualties of misfortune. They were specifically the structures that were incompatible with the next level of your becoming. They were the shells, in the Kabbalistic sense, the klipot, the husks that were surrounding the light that was trying to come through, and they could not be removed gently because they were too deeply integrated into your sense of what was real and what was possible and who you were. They had to be dissolved. And the experience of dissolution, the grief, the confusion, the disorientation, the sense of falling, the sense of being behind, the sense of having lost something irreplaceable, that experience is not the tragedy. That experience is the chrysalis. That experience is the intelligent dissolution working at the level beneath your conscious understanding, removing what needed to be removed so that what is coming can actually arrive. I want to pause here and ask you something directly. Has there been a moment in your life when a door closed and you later realized the closing was the intelligence of the field, removing something that was no longer aligned with who you were becoming? Drop that in the comments. Not the surface version of the story, the layer beneath it. What was actually being dissolved when you thought you were simply losing something? But there is still another layer beneath this. And this is where I want to take you now. This is the deepest layer we will reach in this transmission. And it is the one that changes not just how you understand your past, but how you experience your present moment right now. Let me tell you about a man named Elias. Elias was a builder, not in the literal sense, though he did build things with his hands when he was young, and he never lost the sensibility of someone who thinks in structures and foundations and load-bearing walls. He was a builder in the broader sense. He built businesses, he built teams, he built visions, and then constructed the scaffolding to hold them up while they grew into reality. For 15 years Elias built, and for 15 years, everything he built eventually fell. Not because he was incompetent, he was extraordinarily capable. Not because he was unlucky. Some of his ventures came remarkably close to the threshold of success before collapsing, but because there was something beneath the surface of his building that he had never examined, a frequency in the foundation of everything he constructed that was slightly out of alignment with what he was trying to build toward. He did not know this. How could he? He was looking at the surface. He was looking at the business plans and the market conditions and the team dynamics and the funding cycles. He was examining every visible variable with extraordinary intelligence and adjusting accordingly. But the thing that was out of alignment was not visible. It was not in any of the variables he was measuring. It was in the frequency from which he was building. Elias was building from a layer of himself that was trying to prove something. Not consciously, he would have rejected the description if you had offered it to him. He was not aware of it as a motivation, but beneath the surface of every business he launched, beneath every vision he constructed, beneath every team he assembled and every investor he convinced, and every product he brought to market, there was a signal running. A frequency that said, I will be worthy when this succeeds. I will be enough when this works. I will be safe when this proves that I am who I believe I should be. And the field, the quantum field of probability, the Tao, the divine light of the Kabbalistic tradition, whatever language you prefer for the organizing intelligence beneath the surface of reality, the field could not collapse the outcomes Elias was reaching for, because the frequency from which he was reaching was not coherent with the frequency of those outcomes. The outcomes Elias was reaching for required a builder who was already whole, a builder who was constructing from fullness rather than from lack, a builder whose signal said, I am building this because I am someone who builds, not because building this will make me someone. And every time one of Elias's ventures collapsed, the dissolution was removing another layer of the structure he had built around the wound, another shell, another husk, another layer of the constructed identity that was standing between him and the coherent signal that was trying to come through. He did not know this. He experienced each collapse as failure, as evidence that he was not enough, as confirmation of the very wound the dissolution was trying to heal. This is the cruelty and the precision of the process simultaneously. The dissolution that is trying to free you can feel, from the inside, exactly like the evidence that you are trapped. And then something happened to Elias that did not look, from the outside, like anything significant. He lost a venture that he had invested 5 years of his life in. Not just money, though the financial loss was substantial. 5 years of his identity. 5 years of the story he was telling himself about who he was becoming and what he was building toward. And when it collapsed, something in Elias collapsed with it that had never collapsed before. Not his resolve, not his will, not his capacity to continue, his need to prove. It dissolved with the venture, and in the silence that followed, in the weeks after the collapse, when he was not yet building anything new, when there was nothing to hide behind, when the scaffolding was gone, and there was just Elias standing in the open air of his own existence. He felt something he had not felt since childhood. He felt like himself, not a version of himself that was proving something, not a version of himself that was building toward worthiness, just himself, present, whole. Not because anything had been achieved, but because everything that had been constructed on top of the wound had finally been removed. And from that place, from that frequency, from that coherence, when Elias began to build again, something was different. Not in the strategy, not in the market, not in the external conditions, in the signal, in the frequency from which the building was happening. And the field responded differently, not immediately, not magically, not without difficulty or uncertainty or moments of doubt, but differently. The doors that had always closed before began to stay open just long enough. The connections that had always arrived too late began to arrive at precisely the right moment. The outcomes that had always collapsed just before completion began to hold. Because the signal had become coherent, because the frequency matched, because the quantum field of probability was finally interacting with an observing system that was not splitting its signal between reaching for the outcome and simultaneously broadcasting the frequency of unworthiness. And you have been living a version of Elias's story. Every door that closed on you, every venture that collapsed, every opportunity that arrived and then disappeared, every season where nothing moved no matter how hard you pushed, there was something happening beneath the surface of all of it, something that was not failure, something that was not punishment, something that was not evidence of your insufficiency or your bad luck or the universe's indifference to your efforts. There was a signal being tuned, there was a frequency being refined, there was a layer of constructed identity, of proving, of compensating, of reaching from lack rather than from wholeness, being systematically dissolved by the intelligence of the field, so that what is trying to come through, you can actually come through. And the question is not whether that process is happening. It is. The question is whether you are aware of it, because awareness changes the experience of it entirely. Here is what I mean by that. And this is where we move from the intellectual understanding of what is happening beneath the surface to the embodied experience of it. Because understanding a hidden layer is one thing. Actually seeing through the veil is another. There is a practice I want to offer you. Not a technique in the self-help sense. Not a 5-step process or a morning routine or a visualization exercise. A shift in perception, a change in the frequency of your observation, because what you are observing from determines what you are able to see. Think of a setback you are currently experiencing, or a door that recently closed, or a season of your life where things are not moving the way you want them to move. Bring it to mind with as much specificity as you can. Feel the texture of it, the weight of it, the story you have been telling yourself about what it means. Now, instead of looking at the setback, look at what the setback is dissolving, not what it is taking away, not what it is preventing, but what it is dissolving. What structure, what assumption, what layer of constructed identity, What frequency of reaching from lack rather than from wholeness? What is the intelligence of this experience removing from you? This is not a comfortable question. It is not designed to be. The dissolution is not comfortable. The chrysalis is not comfortable. But the question itself, asked sincerely, from a genuine willingness to see beneath the surface, the question shifts your position from inside the experience to beneath it, from the surface layer to the layer underneath, from the story of what is happening to the mechanism of what is actually happening. And from that position, something becomes visible that was completely invisible from the surface. The setback is not happening to you. It is happening for the version of you that is trying to come through. And the version of you that is trying to come through is not a better, more successful, more accomplished version of the same frequency. It is a more coherent version, a version whose signal is less split, less divided between reaching and doubting, between wanting and believing you are unworthy of what you want. This is the layer beneath every setback. This is what they never told you, not because there was a conspiracy of silence around it, but because most people never look beneath the surface of their own pain long enough to find it. What has been the most precise dissolution you have lived through? The one that, looking back, removed exactly what needed to go. Share that in the comments. Because the collective depth of what this community is willing to see beneath is itself a frequency that lifts the veil for everyone reading. Now let us go to the layer beneath even this. Because there is something beneath the dissolution, something beneath the tuning of the signal, something that the quantum mechanics and the ancient wisdom and the developmental neuroscience are all pointing toward, but that none of them individually fully describes. There is a concept in quantum physics called quantum entanglement. Einstein called it spooky action at a distance, and he said it with disdain. He found it philosophically troubling, because it seemed to violate everything classical physics assumed about the separateness of things. What entanglement describes is this: two particles that have interacted with each other become correlated in a way that persists regardless of the distance between them. Measure one particle's state, and the other particle's state is instantly determined, not after a signal travels between them, not after information is exchanged, but instantly, simultaneously, regardless of whether they are in the same laboratory or on opposite sides of the galaxy. The particles are not communicating. They are not separate things that have been connected. They are, in a deeper sense than classical physics can account for, aspects of a single non-local reality. Now here is the layer that most people never reach when they encounter this concept. Entanglement is not a special property of certain exotic particles in laboratory conditions. Entanglement is the fundamental nature of reality at the quantum level. Everything that has ever interacted with anything else remains correlated at the quantum level. The boundary between things, the apparent separateness of objects, of events, of moments in time, that boundary is a surface feature. It is real at the level of classical physics. It is not real at the level of quantum physics. At the quantum level, you are not separate from the outcomes you are reaching for. You are not separate from the version of your life that feels like it is on the other side of the setback. You are not separate from the people who will be part of your next chapter, the opportunities that are part of your next level, the reality that is part of your next frequency. You are entangled with all of it. And the setbacks, the closed doors, the dissolved structures, the seasons of apparent stagnation, they are not separating you from what you want. They are the process by which the entanglement is becoming coherent. They are the process by which the correlation is being established at a level deep enough to actually manifest in the surface reality of your experience. The ancient Hermetic tradition described this as the principle of correspondence, as above, so below, as within, so without. What is happening at the quantum level of your being is corresponding to what is manifesting at the surface level of your experience. And the refinement of the inner frequency, the dissolution of the structures that were splitting your signal, the removal of the shells that were preventing the light from coming through. That inner refinement is the mechanism by which the outer correspondence shifts. This is not magical thinking. This is the most precise description available of what is actually happening beneath the surface of your experience, and it means something very specific about where you are right now. If you are in a season of setback, if doors are closing, if structures are dissolving, if things are not moving the way you want them to move, you are not behind. You are not failing. You are not being punished or overlooked or passed by. You are in the chrysalis. You are in the dissolution phase of a restructuring that is happening at a level beneath what you can see from the surface. And the restructuring is intelligent. It is removing what needs to be removed. It is dissolving what is incompatible with the next level of your frequency. It is calibrating your signal toward coherence with the outcomes that are already entangled with you at the quantum level of reality. The question is not whether this is happening. It is happening. The question is whether you will cooperate with it or resist it, whether you will allow the dissolution or spend your energy trying to reconstruct what the intelligence of the field is trying to dissolve. Because here is what resistance to the dissolution costs you. And this is a layer that almost nobody talks about, because it requires looking at something uncomfortable with extraordinary honesty. When you resist the dissolution, when you insist on reconstructing the identity structures and the assumptions and the frequency patterns that the setback is trying to remove, you do not stop the process. You cannot stop the process. The field is not negotiating with your preferences. The quantum probability is not adjustable by the force of your conscious will alone. What you do when you resist is extend the dissolution phase. You make it longer, denser, more painful than it needs to be. Because the intelligence of the process has to keep applying pressure until the structure releases. And if you keep rebuilding the structure as fast as it is being dissolved, the pressure has to increase until the dissolution can actually complete. This is why some people spend years, decades, in the same pattern of setback. Not because the universe is cruel, not because they are uniquely cursed, but because they are extraordinarily skilled at reconstructing the very frequency patterns that the setbacks are trying to dissolve. They are so practiced at returning to their familiar story, their familiar identity, their familiar way of reaching from lack, that the dissolution keeps having to start over. And the way out of that loop is not to try harder. The way out is to stop reconstructing, to allow the dissolution to complete, to sit in the formlessness of the chrysalis long enough for the restructuring to happen at the level beneath the surface. This is terrifying. I want to be honest about that, because the structures that are being dissolved feel like you. They feel like your identity, your sense of self, your understanding of who you are and what you are capable of and what you deserve. And the dissolution of those structures feels, from the inside, like dissolution of self, like loss of self, like death of self. But it is not death, it is metamorphosis, and the distinction between those two experiences is not visible from inside the chrysalis. It only becomes visible from the other side. Let me show you what the other side looks like, not as a promise or a guarantee, but as a map of the territory that is already waiting beneath the surface of your current experience. On the other side of the dissolution, there is a version of you that does not need the setback to end in order to be whole. A version of you that does not need the door to open in order to know that you are worthy of what is behind it. A version of you that does not need the frequency to manifest at the surface level of your experience in order to know that the signal is real. This is not detachment. This is not resignation. This is not the spiritual bypassing of genuine desire and genuine ambition and genuine hunger for what you are reaching toward. This is coherence. This is the state in which the signal is no longer split between reaching and doubting, in which the frequency is no longer divided between wanting and believing you are unworthy of what you want, in which the quantum field of your being is broadcasting a single, clear, undivided signal, and the field of probability can finally respond to it without interference. And from that state of coherence, the things that were always entangled with you at the quantum level begin to collapse into your surface experience. Not because you forced them, not because you manifested them through the power of positive thinking, but because the coherence of your signal finally matches the frequency of their manifestation. The doors that were closed begin to open. Not all doors, not random doors. The specific doors that correspond to the specific frequency of your coherent signal. The specific outcomes that are entangled with the specific version of you that exists on the other side of the dissolution. And here is the thing that will strike you as strange when you get there. When you look back at the closed doors, at the setbacks, at the seasons of dissolution, they will not look like failures anymore. They will not even look like necessary detours. They will look like precision. They will look like the field operating with extraordinary intelligence to remove exactly what needed to be removed, in exactly the sequence that was required, to produce exactly the frequency that was needed for exactly the outcomes that are now manifesting. Not in a way that feels comfortable or fair or gentle, but in a way that feels, in retrospect, inevitable, like you could not have arrived here any other way, like the path, viewed from this layer, was never as random as it appeared from the surface. This is the hidden layer behind every setback. This is what they buried, not through conspiracy, not through malice, but through the simple limitation of surface-level understanding. The culture you were raised in gave you a surface-level framework for understanding failure and success, a framework built on the visible variables of effort and talent and luck and timing. and it never showed you the layer beneath those variables where the actual mechanism operates. Today, you have seen beneath it. But let us go one layer deeper still, because there is something beneath even the quantum mechanics and the ancient wisdom and the psychology of dissolution. Something that is not a concept or a framework or a tradition. Something that is happening in you right now as you receive this transmission. Something that is the actual experience of the layer we have been describing. Feel for a moment the quality of your attention right now, not what you are thinking, the quality of the attention itself, the awareness that is receiving these words, the consciousness that is here, present, taking this in, that awareness, that consciousness is not on the surface of your experience. It is not in the story you tell about your life. It is not in the identity structures that are being dissolved by your setbacks. It is not in the frequency patterns that are being refined by the intelligence of the field. It is beneath all of that. It is the layer beneath the layers. The awareness that is aware of the dissolution without being dissolved by it. The consciousness that can observe the setback without being defined by it. The presence that can be in the chrysalis without believing it is the chrysalis. This is what the Vedantic tradition called the witness, what the Buddhist tradition called Buddha nature, what the Sufi tradition called the heart, what the Hermetic tradition called the divine spark, what modern contemplative neuroscience is beginning to map as the default mode network in its deepest, most integrated state. A mode of awareness that is not identified with the contents of experience but is simply the space in which experience occurs. And this layer, this witnessing awareness, this consciousness that is prior to the story and prior to the identity and prior to the frequency patterns and prior to even the quantum field itself, this layer is where you actually live, not where your attention usually rests, not where your culture has trained you to look, but where you actually are. Beneath everything. And here is what changes when you touch this layer, even briefly. The setback loses its power to define you, not because you have transcended it or bypassed it or denied its reality, but because you have found the layer of you that is deeper than the setback can reach. The layer that the dissolution cannot touch. The layer that was never in the frequency mismatch, never in the split signal, never in the structure that needed to be dissolved, because it was never a structure to begin with. It is the ground, the foundation, the bedrock beneath every layer of experience, and from this ground, you can cooperate with the dissolution without being destroyed by it. You can allow the chrysalis without believing you are dying. You can let the structures fall away without losing yourself, because you have found the layer of yourself that has no structure to lose. This is the deepest layer. This is what the veil, at its most fundamental level, conceals. Not a secret about the external world, a secret about the nature of the awareness that is looking at the external world, a secret about who you actually are beneath every story, every identity, every frequency pattern, every quantum field interaction. You are not the setback. You are not the dissolution. You are not the frequency that is being tuned. You are the awareness in which all of that is happening. And that awareness has never been behind, has never failed, has never been insufficient, has never been unworthy of what it is reaching toward. It has simply been looking from the surface when the truth was always beneath it. Now let us bring all of these layers together, because the power of what we have uncovered today is not in any single layer. It is in the integration of all of them. In seeing how the surface experience, the quantum mechanics, the ancient wisdom, the psychology of dissolution, and the deepest layer of witnessing awareness all describe the same reality from different depths. Here is the integrated picture. You are a consciousness, an awareness that is prior to all structure and prior to all experience, expressing itself through a quantum field of probability that collapses into specific surface experiences based on the coherence of the signal it is broadcasting. Every setback you have experienced has been the field reflecting back a frequency mismatch, not as punishment, but as calibration. Every dissolution has been the intelligent removal of structures that were incompatible with the next level of coherence your signal is moving toward. And the entire process, every closed door, every collapsed structure, every season of apparent stagnation has been moving in a single direction, with extraordinary precision, toward the coherence that allows the outcomes already entangled with you at the quantum level to finally collapse into your surface experience. You were never behind. You were in the chrysalis. You were never failing. You were being calibrated. You were never insufficient. You were broadcasting a split signal, and the field was showing you where the split was so that it could be healed. And right now, in this moment, in this season, wherever you are in the arc of your becoming, the same thing is true. Whatever is dissolving because it needs to. Whatever door is closed because the frequency is still being refined. Whatever feels like stagnation is the chrysalis doing its work. And you, the awareness beneath all of it, you are already whole, already coherent at the deepest level, already entangled with everything that is coming, already on the other side of the veil, in the only dimension that ultimately matters, the dimension of your own consciousness. The surface just hasn't caught up yet, but it will, because the signal is getting clearer. The dissolution is completing. The frequency is becoming more coherent, and the field is already beginning to respond. Let me speak now to something specific, because I want this to move from the abstract into the precise. I want to address the specific experience of feeling behind, because this is one of the most common surface-level interpretations of the calibration process, and it is one of the most damaging. The feeling of being behind is a surface-level experience that arises from comparing your current position to a timeline that was constructed from a surface-level understanding of how success works. You look at people who appear to be further along, who have built more, achieved more, manifested more at the surface level of visible reality, and you measure yourself against their surface position without any access to the depth of their process. You do not see what they dissolved to get there. You do not see the frequency patterns that were removed, the identity structures that were dismantled, the seasons of apparent stagnation that preceded their breakthrough. You see the surface of their current position, and you compare it to the surface of yours, and you generate the experience of being behind. But behind on whose timeline? The timeline you are comparing yourself to is not a real timeline. It is a surface-level construct built from cultural conditioning about when things are supposed to happen. When you are supposed to have achieved certain things by certain ages, when you are supposed to have arrived at certain levels of success, when the window is supposed to close. Beneath that construct, there is no timeline. There is only the process of frequency refinement moving toward coherence, and that process does not operate on a cultural schedule. It operates on the schedule of the dissolution, on the schedule of what needs to be removed before the next level of coherence can be established. And the dissolution is not slow because you are behind. The dissolution is precisely as long as it needs to be to complete the restructuring that is required. Not a moment longer, not a moment shorter. The chrysalis is exactly as long as the metamorphosis requires. The person who appears to be ahead of you on the surface timeline may be in a completely different phase of their process. They may have completed a dissolution that you are still in the middle of. They may be expressing a frequency coherence that you are in the process of achieving. Or they may be at the surface of a success that is built on an unresolved frequency split, which means their dissolution is still coming, and when it arrives, it will be proportional to the depth of the unresolved pattern. You do not know, you cannot know from the surface. And comparing your depth to someone else's surface is not information, it is noise. What is information is the direction of your own process, what is being dissolved, what frequency patterns are being refined, what structures are falling away, what layer of yourself is being asked to release. That is the information. That is the map of where you are in the process. And that map, read correctly, does not tell you that you are behind. It tells you exactly how close you are to the coherence that the next level requires. Let me offer you something to sit with. Not a practice in the conventional sense, something more like a question that, if you hold it long enough, begins to answer itself from the layer beneath your conscious thinking. What if every closed door was not a barrier between you and what you want, but a membrane between you and a version of yourself that is more coherent than the version who was trying to walk through it? What if the door was not closed against you, but closed in service of you, specifically in service of the version of you that is being built in the chrysalis of this dissolution? What if the setback was not the universe's indifference to your efforts, but the universe's extraordinary precision in removing exactly what needed to be removed before the next level could be safely held? And what if the feeling of being behind, the restlessness, the urgency, the sense that time is running out, what if that feeling is not a warning that you are failing, but a signal that the process is accelerating, that the dissolution is nearing completion, that the frequency is approaching the coherence required for the next collapse of quantum probability into surface experience. What shifts in you when you consider that? Not as a comfortable story to make the pain more bearable, not as a spiritual bypass of genuine grief and genuine frustration and genuine hunger for what you are reaching toward, but as a genuine possibility. As a layer beneath the surface of your current experience, that might be more true than the story you have been telling yourself about where you are. Feel where that lands. Not in your mind. Your mind will immediately begin evaluating the logic of it, comparing it to evidence, generating objections and confirmations. Feel where it lands in the body, in the chest, in the belly, in the quality of the breath, because the body knows layers that the mind cannot access from the surface. The body is the quantum field made biological. The body is the ancient wisdom made flesh. And the body's response to a truth that is deeper than the surface story is unmistakable once you know what to feel for. It is a quality of recognition, not comfort, recognition. The difference between something that soothes the surface and something that resonates at a deeper layer. Comfort feels like relief. Recognition feels like remembering, like something you always knew but had forgotten was there. If you feel that recognition right now, even faintly, even beneath the noise of the surface story, that is the veil thinning. That is the layer beneath beginning to be visible. That is the quantum field of your awareness beginning to interact with the frequency of what is actually true about your process. And that interaction, that moment of recognition, is itself a calibration event. It is itself a moment of frequency refinement, because awareness of the deeper layer changes the frequency of the signal. Consciousness that knows it is in a chrysalis broadcasts a different frequency than consciousness that believes it is dying. Awareness that knows the dissolution is intelligent, cooperates with the process differently than awareness that believes it is being destroyed by random misfortune. This is why the transmission matters, not as information, as frequency, as a shift in the layer from which you are observing your own experience. Because what you observe from determines what you observe, and what you observe determines what collapses from quantum probability into your surface experience. You are not a passive recipient of a reality that is happening to you. You are an observing system whose frequency of observation is one of the primary variables in what manifests in your experience. And the transmission you have just received has shifted that frequency, has moved your observation from the surface layer to a deeper one, has given you access to a layer of understanding that changes what you are capable of seeing, and therefore what you are capable of experiencing. This is not small. This is not a minor adjustment to your perspective. This is a change in the layer from which you are operating, and changes at a deeper layer propagate upward to the surface in ways that surface-level changes cannot. Now let me speak to the community of people who are watching this, because there is something important about what it means to be someone who looks beneath the surface. Most people stop at the surface explanation. Most people accept the story that the culture gives them about failure and success and timing and worthiness and what it means when a door closes. Not because they are incapable of going deeper, but because no one has shown them that there is a deeper layer to go to. No one has told them that the surface explanation is not the whole truth. No one has lifted the veil and said, "Look, there is something beneath this that changes everything." You are here because something in you has always known that the surface was not the whole truth. Something in you has always sensed that there was more beneath the layer you were being shown. Something in you has always felt the depth beneath the surface of your own experience, even when you did not have language for it, even when you could not articulate what you were sensing. That sensing is not spiritual fantasy. It is accurate perception. It is the awareness beneath the surface, registering the depth that is actually there. It is the quantum field of your consciousness, interacting with the layers of reality that are genuinely present beneath the surface of your experience. And the fact that you are here, the fact that you kept seeking, kept looking, kept refusing to accept the surface explanation as the final word, that is itself a frequency signal. That is itself evidence of the coherence that is building, because the seeking is not separate from the finding. The seeking is the frequency of the finding, moving through you before the finding has collapsed into surface experience. You are closer than you think, not because I am offering you comfort, but because the depth of your seeking is a precise indicator of the depth of the coherence that is building. The hunger for what is beneath the surface is the surface expression of the quantum entanglement with what lies beneath it. Something in you already knows this. Something in you has always known this. And the transmission today was not teaching you something new. It was showing you the layer beneath something you already knew, so that what you knew could become deeper, more precise, more coherent. That is what the veil lifting feels like. Not the arrival of information that was previously absent. The revelation of depth in what was already present. The discovery that what you thought you understood had a layer beneath it that changes the meaning of everything on the surface. And now that you have seen it, now that this layer has been revealed, it cannot be re-hidden. The veil, once lifted, does not fall back into place. The layer, once seen, cannot be unseen. You cannot return to the surface understanding of your setbacks. You cannot look at a closed door and see only failure. You cannot experience a season of dissolution and interpret it only as loss, because you now know what is beneath it. You know the calibration. You know the chrysalis. You know the quantum field responding to the coherence of the signal. You know the ancient wisdom traditions that mapped this territory thousands of years before the instruments existed to measure it. You know the witnessing awareness that is beneath every layer of experience, unchanged and unchangeable, already whole, already coherent at the deepest level. You know the hidden layer, and knowing it changes everything about how you move through what is coming. I want to speak now to what comes after the recognition, because the recognition itself is not the destination. It is the beginning of a new way of moving through your life. A way of moving that is informed by the depth of what you now know, rather than limited by the surface of what you were previously seeing. When the next setback comes, and it will come, because the calibration process does not stop until the frequency is fully coherent, you will have a choice that you did not have before. Not a choice about whether to feel the pain of it. The pain is real, and it is appropriate, and it is part of the dissolution, and it deserves to be felt fully, but a choice about what layer you interpret it from. You can interpret it from the surface, from the story of failure, from the comparison to where you think you should be, from the fear that this means you are not enough. That interpretation is available to you. It is the familiar one, the one your nervous system knows how to generate automatically. Or you can interpret it from the layer beneath, from the understanding of the calibration, from the recognition of the chrysalis, from the awareness that the dissolution is intelligent, that the frequency is being refined, that the quantum field is responding to the coherence of your signal, and that this experience, as painful as it is at the surface, is the precise mechanism by which the next level of your becoming is being prepared. That interpretation does not make the pain disappear, but it changes the frequency of the awareness that is holding the pain. And the frequency of the awareness that is holding an experience is one of the primary variables in how that experience transforms you. Pain held from the surface frequency of victimhood produces contraction, bitterness, and the reinforcement of the split signal. Pain held from the depth frequency of witnessing awareness produces expansion, refinement, and the progressive coherence of the signal that the next level requires. Same pain, different layer, completely different outcome. This is the practical application of everything we have uncovered today. Not a technique, not a formula, a shift in the layer from which you are observing and interpreting and holding your own experience. And that shift, maintained consistently, returned to when the surface pulls you back, deepened through practice and through transmissions like this one. That shift is the mechanism of the transformation that is already underway in you. If this transmission has reached a layer in you that you want to return to, come back to it in a quiet moment, before sleep, or in the stillness of early morning, when the surface noise is lowest and the deeper layers are most accessible. Or send it to someone who is ready to see beneath the surface of their own setbacks. When you share this with someone who is ready, you are not just giving them a video, you are giving them access to a layer they could sense but could not reach alone. And in that act, you create a shared depth between two fields of awareness that strengthens the collective ability to see beneath surface reality. Let me offer you something to carry forward from this transmission. Not a conclusion, because this is not a topic that concludes. It is a depth that continues. Every layer we have peeled back today has revealed another layer beneath it, and that is not a failure of the transmission. That is the nature of reality. That is the infinite depth that exists beneath every surface. And the willingness to keep going deeper, to keep looking beneath the layer you just uncovered, that is the practice. That is the path. That is the frequency of consciousness that keeps the veil thinning. But as an integration point, as a place to stand in what we have uncovered today before going deeper, carry this. Every setback is a calibration. Every dissolution is a chrysalis. Every closed door is a membrane between you and a more coherent version of yourself. And the awareness that is beneath all of it, the witnessing consciousness that is prior to every story and every identity and every frequency pattern, that awareness is already whole, already coherent, already on the other side of every veil that the surface of your experience is still navigating. You are not behind. You are in the chrysalis. You are not failing. You are being calibrated. You are not insufficient. You are broadcasting a signal that is in the process of becoming more coherent than it has ever been. And the field is responding, not yet at the surface level of your visible experience, but at the quantum level, at the level beneath the surface, at the level where the probability is collapsing toward the coherence that is coming. The veil is thinner than you think, and now you can see through it. One more thing before we close this layer of the transmission, because there is something that wants to be said about timing, specifically about the timing of this moment, right now, in your life. You did not find this transmission by accident, not in the mystical sense, in the quantum sense, in the precise non-mystical frequency matching sense. The fact that you are here, receiving this, at this specific moment in your process, that is itself a frequency event. The quantum field of your awareness interacted with this transmission because the coherence of your signal has reached the level where this layer of understanding is available to you. You could not have received this a year ago, not because the transmission did not exist, but because the frequency of your awareness was not yet coherent enough to interact with this layer of it. The dissolution that has happened in the intervening time, the setbacks, the closed doors, the seasons of apparent stagnation, that dissolution prepared the vessel. That dissolution removed the layers that were blocking the reception. You are here because you are ready for this layer. Not ready in the sense of being complete or finished or fully coherent, but ready in the sense that the next layer of your becoming requires this understanding, requires the shift in observation layer that this transmission provides, requires the frequency of awareness that comes from knowing what is beneath the surface of your setbacks. And that readiness, that specific, precise quantum level readiness, is itself evidence of how far the calibration has come, evidence of how much the dissolution has completed, evidence of how close you are to the coherence that the next level requires. The signal is getting clearer. The frequency is approaching coherence. The quantum field is already beginning to respond. You are not at the beginning of this process. You are approaching the threshold, and the threshold is not a door that opens when conditions are perfect. It is a membrane that dissolves when the frequency is coherent enough to pass through it. Your frequency is approaching that coherence right now. The veil is thinning. What has been revealed today cannot be re-hidden. What you have seen beneath the surface of your setbacks is now part of the layer from which you observe. An observation from a deeper layer changes what manifests at the surface. You are no longer a surface dweller. You see the depth now. You see the calibration beneath the closed door. You see the chrysalis beneath the dissolution. You see the quantum field beneath the surface experience. You see the ancient wisdom beneath the modern confusion. You see the witnessing awareness beneath every layer of constructed identity. You see what was always there, what has always been there, What was hidden not from you, but beneath the layer you were looking at. And now that you see it, you carry it forward, not as a concept, as a frequency, as a new layer of awareness that informs everything you observe, everything you interpret, everything you hold and move through and build from. This is what changes everything, not the setbacks ending, not the doors opening, not the surface reality shifting immediately to match the depth of what you now know. Those things will come, and they will come with a precision and a timing that will feel, when they arrive, like exactly what was always meant to happen. But the change that matters most, the change that is already complete, is the change in the layer from which you are observing. You are looking from a deeper place now, and what you see from here is different from what you could see from the surface. Welcome to what was always beneath everything. The transmission continues. The depth goes further. The next layer is already waiting, and you are ready to see it. There is a layer beneath your intuition itself that most people never reach. A suppressed frequency of perception that was deliberately obscured and that, once reclaimed, changes not just what you sense, but what reality is able to show you. That transmission is called, "Your intuition is not what you think," and the depth it opens is the precise next layer beneath what we uncovered here today.